All right, how's it going, you guys? Welcome back to the series on improving chess tactics. We're gonna go ahead with the next segment in the rating ladder climb here. Today we're gonna be looking at problems in the 16 to 1800 range on Chess.com's tactics trainer. Um, Again, as always, just some of my things that I normally say in this series. I would suggest when you're doing these yourself to solve for accuracy over speed, to sort of shoot for, I would say, when you're being sufficiently challenged, getting about 60 to 70% correct, and setting yourself a time limit. So at minimum 5 minutes. If you don't know for sure sort of what the answer is, making yourself look at it for 5 minutes. Again, as I've said in other videos, I think tactics are incredibly important, especially to incorporate into your chess study and training, especially for people who are 2000 and lower, as there are a lot of tactical moments in games, tactical opportunities, especially as the rating, as you go down in rating, tactics become more important as far as like appearing on the board. So yeah, all that by way of context. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, so first one here, we've got white. Looks like we're down a rook. I'm noticing that these pawns here are taking away these squares, so it looks like if we just play queen to e6, that just looks to be checkmate. Yeah, let's go for it. All right, good stuff. Interesting mate in one on a 1745 problem. And yeah, as I've said in the other videos as well, if you want to go ahead and pause the video when a new problem comes up, just to give yourself a little bit more of a mental workout, that would be something you could do as well. All right, so let's see what we've got next. All right, so I've got two pieces hitting f7. But black has two pieces defending there. So then I think about, what if rook takes f7? The king can't take on f7 because the queen is defending. If rook takes, then we win a queen. If rook takes and then queen takes, we have an intermediate move, rook takes f8, which should just be winning a rook. After they capture, we'll take here. We'll have a bishop and a rook against a bishop. I think that works. Rook takes, let's just double check. Rook takes f7. Again, if rook takes f7, queen takes d8, winning a queen. And if queen takes d5, rook takes f8, intermediate move with check, and then we recapture on d5. I don't see a refutation. I mean, I suppose they could come down here and check us. Let's just make sure that's not a thing to worry about. Rook takes f2. Let's say bishop h2 check. Probably take it. They can't get on this diagonal because we'll just capture with check. Yeah, I don't think the bishop move is an issue. Yeah, let's go for this. Okay, so they go for the queen capture. There we go. 1658 on that one. All right, let's see what we have next here. So checks captures threats as always. The first check I notice is this queen a1 check. Also noticing this knight f2. But that, of course, can be captured. So if queen a1 check, there is rook to d1, which is supported by this or sorry, rook to e1, which is supported by the e7 rook. So maybe we need to combine both of these checks. So knight f2 check. If the king moves, king g1, queen takes g2 is mate. With the knight, you know, getting between the rook's defense of g2. So knight f2, if rook takes f2, then queen a1. But even there, this queen is helping the rook with rook f1, so that might not work. Alright, so I feel like close, but gotta get the move order right. Knight f2, rook takes f2. Yeah, queen a1, rook f1, supported by the queen. That doesn't seem to work. So let's just go back to queen a1, rook e1. I mean, we can just take a rook. We would be threatening discoveries, like knight f3 check. So after we take the rook on e1, they have rook takes c7 check. After which, probably king to b8. The knight is not checking us on b8. The queen is not checking us on b8. I feel like we should be able to get out of danger there. Also, if this check, should just be able to play king to b8. And again, knight, rook, or queen are not checking us there. I think that this works, just winning a rook. Yeah, okay. Alright, so first thing I noticed with this one is I've heard this kind of mating pattern where the rooks are kind of mowing through and mating the king to be called something like a lawnmower mating pattern or something. I'm not sure. But of course this doesn't work because the king is not on the second rank. We can't just do sort of rook c2, king to one of these guys, and then rook here. Instead what we have to do is provoke the king forward and then hit it on the second rank and then play this check. So I'm pretty sure that that works. Just making sure there isn't anything odd that refutes that idea. No, I don't think so. Okay. 1706 on that one. Alright, so we have a check. And this is a situation where we're down a significant amount of material. But again, this is a pattern I've talked about in other videos. The knight sort of walling off and taking these important squares away. And in this case, we have bishop c1, which blocks the queen's check and then opens up this attack on the king, which ultimately is checkmate. So this is a mate in one. Okay. All right, so we have another check in an even material situation. Here I do notice that we have 3 pieces lined up on f2, which suggests to me if we could play something like rook takes f2, we would be threatening discoveries, we'd be threatening the queen. That looks kind of bad for white, to say the least, which is why I immediately jump to the question of whether I can not like block but instead move my king to get out of this. We know that the, assuming I could just move my king, say king g7, we know that the f pawn can't move because of the pin. The g pawn could move, but we could just take it again because of the pin on the f pawn. But I don't feel like a move, say, like king g8 or king h8 is sufficiently forcing. I mean, the alternative to those moves, right, would be the blocking move, rook f7. But rook f7 just looks to lose a rook for no apparent reason. So then the question is, I can't capture this checking piece in any way. I can't really block it effectively, so I gotta move. So the question then is, which one? G7, G8, or H8? My intuition is G8 with the idea that, G8 with the idea that if they check here, then we can go here and be attacking the rook and have this threat on F2. Whoa, on F2 with all of our pieces. Whereas we don't make progress in that direction if we go king H8. But that's not as concrete as I would like. But it seems like about as good of a rationale as anything that I can find. Again, we're not blocking, so we have to move the king. We can't capture it. This just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They can just check us, and eventually we have to start going over this way. Also, if we go king h8, they do have, well, this check doesn't do a whole lot. I was just thinking, does it just give them more moves? And sometimes you don't want to give them extra moves. I mean, of course, that loses the queen for white, but yeah, my intuition is definitely that king g8 is the way to go. Yeah, let's go for that. Okay, so they get off of f2. Get their king off of f2, that is. So then I wonder if taking here, hitting the queen, and what else would we be threatening? I mean, I can also just take a bishop. No, I can't take a bishop. The rook is protecting it. Okay, sorry. Rook takes f2 both threatens the queen and threatens the rook. Usually when you get a double attack like that, that's usually going to be good enough. And I don't see a defense which solves both the problems. So let's go for it. I guess you do have this, huh? So once again, though, king f7 hits this and hits this, again with a double attack, a recurrent motif. In like any tactical problem, I would suspect if king f7, they're going to play bishop takes g6 when we take this piece. Probably. Yeah, let's go for this. Okay, so this is fun. Wow, this one just keeps going, huh? Alright, so the point is if I take here, they're going to double check, which is going to be somewhat scary. Can we survive this double check? King takes e2, bishop takes g6, king double check, bishop takes g6 double check. Let's say king to d7. The queen is not checking us over here anywhere. Whoops. King to d7. They can come down and check us here. Ay, ay, ay. Then maybe... Maybe king to c7 there. Yeah, getting a knight's distance away from the king usually is a good idea. Yeah. I feel like it's getting away, but I'm nervous. I do feel like this is correct though. Okay, so the point here is if we go here, then this check seems really bad. Yeah, that's just going to lead to checkmate with king to g7, queen to f7, king to h8, queen to h7 checkmate. So we got to go over here. But also we can just do this. No, we can't. Sorry, it's a double check. King's got to move. So which one of these is better? If we go to d7, they do have bishop f5 check, when if we capture, they're capturing our queen, which doesn't look to be good. So if we go here, they have this check, we can go here. Yeah, that feels right. Let's go for this. Oh no, what happened? Alright, we can get out of this? We can get out of this. Oh yeah, no, I totally forgot that the rook is holding the square. Wow, that was a complicated one. Okay, so let's just see this. So you go here. Yeah. Okay, let's see why this is bad going this way. Yeah. Yeah, I've said before in other places that I tend to have issues with these, like, avoiding queen check scenarios. King to d8. It's just a draw. So queen to e8. So I guess they get a perpetual somewhere. So king c7. Queen c... okay. Queen c6. Yeah, I was not seeing this. Yeah, okay. King c7, queen c6. If you try to go here, queen b6. Okay. Alright. So yeah, I wrote off going the other way too quickly. So yeah, no, as I've said in the previous videos, as we start to go up the rating ladder here, I do expect to be getting more of these incorrect, but we're definitely going to shoot for the highest level of accuracy possible. Okay, so first thing I notice, of course, is this bishop here is hanging, so I probably want to do something about that. And then I see that these two guys are potential targets. So my thought is bishop takes, king takes, and then rook to d6 with a fork on the knight, and then there's a second attacker there on the e6 bishop. And if they move the bishop, Then we have this check. Or, sorry, this capture, and then they'll recapture. And then we just gotta make sure that they don't get a fork down here. But no, it's not a fork because the knight is holding the bishop. Even if they get to check us on e1, that's not a concern. So let's go through this again. Bishop takes g7, king takes g7, rook d6. Gonna win a piece, it looks like. Again, if they move their bishop, we'll trade rooks. And then take this guy. When rook e1, we can just play king h2, and this bishop is defended by the knight. So yeah, I think that's right. Okay, so they go this way. So again, they're giving up their bishop, but getting a pawn. So we can just take this guy. And here, we don't want to take this, I don't think, because they can take here, yep, and then we'll take, and then they can come down and check us and get the piece back, and that would be even material. So instead, we want to go this way. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Alright, so looks like even material. I mean, I do notice that our queens are lined up, but that looks more like a liability for me than a concern for black. I have to make sure that my queen doesn't end up hanging. The rook on e6 is also hanging, so we have to do something about that. So my first thought is some kind of capture on f6. Let's just say queen takes f6. Queen takes f6. Let's say let's say g takes f6. So the knight, queen, queen, and queen are off the board, and this g pawn is on f6. I don't see a whole lot interesting to do in that situation. So maybe not. What about rook takes d6? Rook takes d6. Rook takes d6. Queen takes d6. Rook takes d6. Queen takes d6. Rook takes, queen takes. I'm not seeing anything convincing there either. Rook takes, queen takes. Knight takes b5. Or knight to b5, not knight takes b5. Just like queen d8 or something. Not seeing anything there. I mean, if we try something like this, knight takes d5, just king takes e6. Yeah, that doesn't seem to do anything terribly great. Let's look back at this. Rook takes f6, queen takes f6. So rook takes f6, queen takes f6. Looks like it fails to just rook f3. So if rook takes f6, probably g takes f6 is forced. And something like knight takes d5. Opening up this bishop, putting 3 pieces on f6. If they try something like bishop e7, then moving the knight from d5, I mean wherever, would expose an attack on the queen. If they move, say rook takes f6, g takes f6, knight takes d5. If they move this, probably checking and then taking this guy. Maybe. Yeah, I do think this is the way to go. Rook takes f6, g takes f6. I'm not really sure if I want to play knight takes d5 or if I want to play queen h6 check. Or sorry, queen h5 check. Feels like it brings Black's king out into more vulnerability than they would like. I do kind of think this knight takes d5 might be better. It just feels like it opens up all of White's pieces. Seems like it's better than taking on d6 for sure. I mean, taking on d6 just seems to get the queen active. The black queen, that is. Yeah, let's go for this. Alright, so they do go this way. Alright, I'm interested to see what is going on after g takes. So they do say knight takes d5. Whoops. Knight takes d5. Okay, so they say... Okay, sort of changing between a few different things here. Rook to g8. Bishop takes f6. Yeah, all the pieces sort of converging on f6 here seem really bad. And even though in this situation black is up in exchange, white is like plus 12 because black's king is way too exposed, white's pieces are way too active. Okay, very interesting. Alright, so first thing I notice here is the alignment of the queens, and that usually kind of suggests some kind of check. to make way for that alignment. I think this works. I don't even have to sack my bishop here. I can just take this with check. Yeah, let's go for that. And then take this. Okay, let's see about maybe one more here. Maybe one or two, we'll see. Okay, so first thing I notice is the queen is taking all these squares away from the king. And if we could play knight f6, it would be checkmate, but the queen is taking that. But if we play this, then the king can't go anywhere, but the queen can jump in front. And there, we can play this check, because the d8 queen is pinned. King to e7. Hmm. Queen to c8, queen to d8. Knight to f6, king to e7. Not quite seeing it. Queen to c8, queen to d8. Knight to f6, king to e7. Okay, let's try something else then. Queen to b8, just allowing the king to come out here. But they can still play queen to d8 in that situation. Let's just say queen to b8, king to d7. Queen to b8, king to d7. Yeah, I'm not seeing a good um, follow up there, which again leads me back to this move. So knight to f6, king to e7. Yeah, I mean, going back to g8 doesn't do anything. I mean, other moves like knight h6, maybe trying to look at the queen coming over to f7. They at minimum have king to d8 in that situation. I mean, queen to c8, queen to d8, knight to f6, king to e7. I think about something like knight to d5, e takes d5. Yeah, but then I don't really see anything after that either. Yeah, so my strong intuition is definitely that this is the correct move. But I can't say that I'm seeing the follow-up. Alright, so I don't know how much time it's been. I think it's been close to my 10 minutes. I haven't really been looking at the time. But I'm not seeing a whole lot better than that. And so I think I'm going to go for this. We'll sort of see what happens. Again, just looking at this knight f6 check, king e7. They're not just saying this is a draw. Knight f6 check. king e7, knight g8, king to e8, and then knight f6 check, because with the idea that black is up 2 pawns, black has 2 minor pieces against a rook that looks currently really silly. Maybe that is the idea. Wow, if this is a draw, just going back, knight g8. The only other idea is something like queen to c5, then queen to d6 at a minimum. Yeah, that doesn't seem to do it. I'm kind of thinking they might be saying this is a draw, because the king always has to stay in touch with the queen. Can't go to d6 because of just taking the queen. Yeah, that's sort of my best guess. Black has 2 extra pawns. Black has an extra piece. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking they're saying it's a draw, but wow. Okay, I guess they are saying it's a draw. Yeah, perpetual check. Huh. Yeah, those will kind of throw you off when you're always thinking that you're going to set up some kind of winning attack or something. All right, let's see about doing one more here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like we have even material. Huh. Okay, so this kind of looks silly. So even material, the first idea I see is bishop takes g7 when this rook here is kind of locked in, and would be threatening to win a pawn and a rook for a bishop. And if they play king takes g7, then there's knight f5, forking these two guys. I do think that that's correct. Let's go for it. Oh, they don't make you play it out. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so interesting session. There were a couple of challenging ones in that session. The one that I did miss with the queen escaping, I went the way that produced a perpetual check, not seeing that the other way. I think we were black in that case. Black did have resources to get away. So I did 10, I got 10. I mean, I did 11, I got 10 correct. Yeah, I mean, I as I said, as we go up, I do expect to be missing more. And again, when we get to the point where it's sort of sufficiently challenging, I expect to be getting 60 to 70% right in a session. And again, my personal high is like around 2,700, so sort of when we get up to that territory. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments, and you know, if you saw anything differently or whatever it might be. And I'll be looking forward to getting the next video in the series out here soon. And until then, we'll see you later. Thanks a lot.